Welcome to the Knife Junkie podcast, your weekly dose of knife news and information about knives and knife collecting. Here's your host, Bob the Knife Junkie DeMarco.
Welcome to the Knife Junkie podcast. I'm Bob DeMarco. On this edition of the show, I'm speaking with my friend Tomas Alas of the Tactical Tavern. Tomas is a knife tube and knife gram phenom, from his on-point product reviews of knives and other EDC gear to his masterful demonstrations of his martial arts prowess. Tomas has galvanized a broad sector of the online knife enthusiast community and has helped steer the conversation towards better gear and training. Another run of his collaboration with TK Knives is about to drop, so I can't wait to talk about that, but so much more. We'll talk to Tomas about all this stuff. But first, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, download the show to your favorite podcast app so you can hear these dulcet tones as you drive to work. Also, if you want to help support the show, you can do so by joining right here on YouTube below my finger right here. Or you can go to TheKnifeJunkie.com/Patreon, scan the QR code on your screen. If you sign up for 1 year in total, you get 12% off if you do that all at once. Again, that's TheKnifeJunkie.com/Patreon.
Do you like the sound of the alphanumeric combinations M390, 204P, and 20CV, but bristle at 8CR, 13MOV, and AUS-8? You are a knife junkie. Probably worse.
Tomas, always a pleasure, sir. Thanks for coming back on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I am beyond excited, and I know my family's watching, so hello, family, wherever you're watching from.
Hello, family. It's awesome. You raised an awesome guy. Tomas is the best, and we love him dearly. Tomas, welcome to the show. Let's start right with the brass tacks. Let's talk about the Agent 007, because as we record this, it's about to drop like next week.
It's coming out. So we're excited. We're trying something new. So based on feedback, I really wanted to experiment with the steel. So we're having a limited run of S35 VN come out on the Tontos. And in addition to that, again, kind of limited, we're going to do some pre-orders on the 80 CR-V2s. But to me, something that really is special is the Samurai Wrapped editions from Bastianelli. Growing up in knives, I've always admired Bastianelli's work, his lines, and he was generous enough to work with us on these Samurai Wrap 007s. I mean, oh man.
Positively beautiful. Let me just interrupt you real quick and say that I saw that this was a new wrap. You've had Auxiliary Manufacturing, Mike Jarvis. He does beautiful work too. I saw this one, and I have a maroon wrapped Anomaly from Bastien, and I was like, what? Who did this? Like, I knew it wasn't Mike Jarvis's. It's just a different style. Nice to bag Bastianelli here.
Incredible. So I love Jarvis's work because it's a flat wrap. It's a little untraditional, but it's beautiful because it's so slim. So if you want something ultra concealed carry, that's the one to go to with the genuine ray skin. This is kind of the inverse of that, where it has that traction on the inside, but it has that traditional wrap, and your fingers just melt. No matter if they're big, small, however you hold it, this thing just, the snap cuts on this, unbelievable. So beautiful, very limited. November 21st. That's the date that they're going live. So the 21st of this November.
Okay, that's a Friday, I believe, right?
Yes, on TKNives.com. Some people were like, well, they're going to be on Bastion's site. No. TK Knives, they're coming at you, coming in hot. So, yes.
Very cool. Well, so not only do you have the Bastianelli Tsukamaki wrap on this, and by the way, he does a mean Tsukamaki wrap, and I'm a big fan of that because, as you were mentioning, it's either your fingers or the fat of your palm. They're always sinking into one of those valleys, and it's just such a great grip.
It is, and you understand why it's been used for centuries with the Samurai, because it's like no matter how you grip it, there's traction points all throughout, and it accommodates any grip that you go into. The other thing is he does an epoxy seal on this, so it's not like, if I get organic materials on it, is it going to corrode? No, you just like brush it off because it's just sealed perfectly. So they're beautiful, custom leather sheath. That's been my everyday carry since the moment I got it. It's stunning.
Nice. So as a brother of the Agent series, I recently got, okay, this is a perfect example. I just recently got my new Agent 001s, which recently went up with the Battle Lock scales, and
Yes.
this is my first time experiencing the Battle Lock, and then I got a whole bunch of knives from him with Battle Lock. I love that FRN, and I never thought I'd say that.
Oh man, I know some people love it and some people are like, that's so aggressive. And in my videos, I jokingly tell them, I'm like, well, then you need to work out your hands some more. But some
Take the
people are like,
gloves
well,
off at the gym.
that's offensive. I'm like, all right, chill. It's a joke. But what I told people is if it's too aggressive for you, you can just take some sandpaper and sand it off just a little bit. If you want to wear it appendix close to your body, that way it's not going to, create any weird red spots that you have to admit to later. Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And also the beauty of the Battle Lock is the color saturation is intense. I never thought desert tan or olive drab could look so vivid.
It does. And it really does an incredible job at locking your hands into. It feels like ray skin. It's like synthetic ray skin, in my opinion. It's beautiful. Well done.
All right. So before we move on from the 007, tell us all a little bit about what you were thinking about for the design going into this. That very aggressive and slender tanto. It's beautiful to the eye, but tell us about the functionality of it.
Yes, sir. So first off, there would be no Agent series without Bob DeMarco. So thank you to you and TKL for working on basically the frame of it, right? And he approached me with a tanto. He goes, hey, would you be interested in doing something? And I go, we need to do a tanto. There has to be a tanto in the series. But all the other ones, like full credit to Lynn Thompson, he's popularized the Americanized tanto, right? With that very obtuse yokote. I wanted something very acute. And there's multiple thoughts that went into this. First off, I love the idea of an everyday carry scalpel. Not 90% of the time, you're not going to be slinging around and taking out bad guys, although maybe some of you guys will be doing that. But I love the functionality of such a detailed cutting tip. I think when you go to an everyday carry knife, majority of your work has to do with that first third of your knife. Majority, right? Opening a package, opening up a letter. And so I measured the angle for myself onto the table. And that's this angle here. So when you press flat onto a surface, that's that angle. So you get full contact there. You have that aggressive, detailed point for medical work. I'm an Eagle Scout, so I've always been fascinated by medical, going into EMT training. And I was like, man, if I ever have to do like a tracheotomy or something or dig out a splinter, I want my tool to be sharp enough to be able to do that. Additionally, training in original Hirona Eskrima, we have a lot of thrusting or senkitis. And I was like, man, if I can have someone that if I just handed them to it and they could be effective with this tool, it's going to do the work for you. It requires minimal resistance. And so you get the beautiful pressure cuts of like a straight edge, but it has that slight gentle curve to it. So if you're doing any gununting or passing strikes, it's going to kind of slice and feed into it. So yeah, all around quite a versatile tool, although some people might look at it and think, oh, that's a tactical knife right there. No, it's actually a pretty versatile everyday carry tool if you know how to use it.
Yeah. Oh, snap. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't mean to overstate this, but it is beautiful to look at too. And I call myself shallow for noticing that, but it's a beautiful knife, man.
Thank you.
I'm a huge fan of the design of that knife. And you were talking about that first third. You've seen the 004. I think you might have one, maybe. The Puko.
Yes.
The little Puko.
It's right over here.
That is like the tip of a knife, right?
Right.
It is it's another one in the series, and it has a very utilitarian point. It's under that 3-inch threshold for legality purposes. What is the blade length on this one?
This one's coming in at right about 3.7.
3.7.
And I wanted that so that way when you extend your finger, you're met with that flat part of the blade. So it's super close up. It actually transitions from that slight hollow grind on the top to a flat So when you're doing that extended cutting, maybe your kid asks you to cut out a flower for their art project, and you don't
Mhm.
have scissors, you can get that comfortable. Because I hate when you're using a knife, especially for like woodworking, and it has like all that sharp, like swedge on there. It's not practical.
Yeah.
So this has that full extinct for the majority of people. I mean, I know you got some like meat hands, some guys out there with extra extra large gloves, but
Yeah, right.
well, then it conceals better. But for the normal person, you're gonna have just that little bit of tip sticking out for your detailed cutting work. So, and
Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, I mean, truthfully, yes, of course, this is a personal protection tool. With that in mind,
Yep.
I did measure the average distance between the rib cage on a anatomy and physiology, so that way, even if you did have to plunge it in to that target, it would still go in more than likely and split them. So we tested it on the ballistic dummy with an A+ pass. So
Yeah,
it was,
that was one of my favorite videos of the season. Yeah, I remember that video. I think that was at the Texas Custom Knife Show. You went to town
yes,
on one of those things.
yes, sir. Yeah,
So no conversation about an agent series or any TCAL knife would be complete without mentioning how, I mean, from the very start, Tim and his company is outstanding. He's a great guy. His family's awesome. But
amazing.
now he's got Nick Chuprin and NCC Knives doing a lion's share of the machining, and it's astounding.
And shout out to Tim too for being so communicative. I'm sure you experienced it too with this. Your 001, like any minute changes, he's always listening to the end user, and they're like, "Hey man, we'd love to see this change, or what can you bring us?" He's so on it.
Yeah,
And Nick, especially on yours, what I really loved is this subtle line here for that back cut.
yeah.
Oh man.
He was able to nail it. But what impresses me even more is the it's some of the creature comforts you get out of these now. All of the chamfering on the corners, on the edges, everything except for the main edge, everything has a nice feel to it in hand. Whereas the first ones, which were also great, I mean, I'm not certainly not bad mouthing those, but things as they progress, they become more refined if you're going in the right direction. And this one is really that.
It does. And I'd like to answer something. I've gotten questions. People are like, well, why does it have ridges on there? Like you can
Mhm.
hear it. And if you think of like a Santoku with like the dimples on a kitchen knife, it
Yeah.
relieves that pressure. So there's less contact surface area. And that's exactly what this does on the Agent series with Nick Chiprin behind the machines on there. There's so much less drag that even on those more tough materials, fibrous materials, it zips right through, and you'll go like, did I even hit it? Oh, you went through it. It's like the Hatanza horde, man. It's just
Yeah,
nuts.
yeah. That's a really, really good point. It's not, I mean, yes, it's pleasing to the eye, but it's a lot more than that. There's a purpose behind it. They're not just showing that you can do it or terrace. It really does have a use.
Exactly. And the weight reduction too. So it just has that little bit of handle heaviness to it. So the recovery is so much faster. It's quite a deceptive line, especially with the milling work. It's phenomenal machining, world class, world class.
So I want to move on a little bit. I mean, I see you doing the moves, the knife moves. Tell us what your martial art is, what you've trained, most in, and primarily your knife art.
Absolutely. So my base is in Kaji Kembo under Professor
Oh,
Rick Williams. So that's a mix. If you've not heard of it, it's a mix of karate, judo, jiu-jitsu, kempo, and Chinese kickboxing
mm,
all together. So I got my black belt in that, which was an incredible experience. It's very brutal. It's not for everyone. There's a motto that we have where you don't go home till there's blood on the mat. And I was, training to that since I was 5. So shout out to my family for getting me involved in that. And they're like, yeah, this is great. This is character development. Uh, maybe that's why I messed up a little bit. I don't know, but it's a beautiful art. It teaches you a lot of respect because granted you have those skills, but it teaches you how to control those skills and de-escalate so you never have to use them. And that is a true testament to a martial artist. So from there, one day we had a demo. We had like a seminar, and this older Filipino guy comes in, and I'm like, "Huh, your blades are no match for my kung fu." And I was like, he goes like, throw something. And I was like, okay. So I did like a feint and a kick, and I got cut, Bob, 37 times before I blinked. It was just, and I went, what is this power you wield? And he goes, this is FMA. Your kicks are just, that's nothing. Your punches, nothing. He goes, but when you have a knife, you can flow. It doesn't require that brute force. And that was Grandmaster Michael Hiron under the Hiron lineage, specifically Largo Mano. It's a beautiful system. It's battle tested from World War II. And so that's what I've been training in for about 9 years now, and graduated the system and recently became a guru because I'm teaching.
So cool. All right. A couple of things here. First of all, I used to do the first martial art I got really serious in was Kempo, American Kempo karate. And it was a sort of unorthodox version of it from a great place in Philly called Martial Posture. They did their whole take on it. It was great. And while I was there, that's when I heard of Kaju Kembo. And I was like, yeah, again, like, what is this witchcraft?
Right.
But very, at the time anyway, difficult to find on the East Coast. Like, it was kind of this magical thing I heard about on the West Coast. And then, so you mentioned Largo Mano. Now, moving on, describe what that means.
So Largo, basically meaning like distance, long range, hands, you're furthest from their opponent. So we have drills where you can like measure off. You can't touch each other's hands, basically, when you measure off with a sword. And typically you're using a longer stick to simulate a sword around like 36 inches.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And it really teaches you body mechanics and the arc principle. When someone is striking at you, there's a tip on that arc where they're at the furthest point, and it's a diminishing return where it gets slower and slower. And we operate within inches and angles, where you'll consider it a win if it brushes past your shirt. And I say it, meaning the sword will brush past your shirt, but you can still cleanly cut their neck, head, shoulder, hand all day. It's beautiful because it really teaches you range management. But the original Hiron system has a complete curriculum for those corto media ranges where you get closer and closer with the cadena de mano, like a lot of templates that you can use, which allows you to play with different systems like Serrata, even like Wing Chun. They're kind of like, well, how did you do this? You're like, well, I just consider my forearm that outward block, right? Well, now it's stick pointing up. That's my hand here. Boom, and you're in. So it's a complete system, and it's blown my mind with the complexity of it, but the simplicity of how it's delivered. It took me a while to get it.
And the Serrata is the exact opposite. That's like real close. They use much shorter sticks. You're talking about 36-inch sticks.
Yes,
that's about 7 inches longer than your standard Kali stick.
correct.
So I mean that is really learning to fight out there is a real benefit. You have standoff range.
It is, and it gives you the ability to work with a longer sword, but we also train with how to use that longer sword in short range, which is kind of like, well, how does that work? Well, there's a lot of like push cuts you can do. I'm getting ready to do some seminars, so we'll have to have you out there and maybe even do a joint video exploring some of the different Filipino martial arts, because it is beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and allowed me to explore training with a variety of different people.
Well, by comparison, I know how to walk, so you could maybe show me how to jog.
Yes.
So for those who don't study Filipino martial arts or any martial art, but are interested in the applied lessons learned, what are some of the attributes from Filipino? Let's talk about Filipino martial arts that apply to life in general, or just movement, or what have you.
Absolutely. My favorite quote comes from Grandmaster Michael Hiron, and he goes, FMA will, this is what he goes. He goes, MMA will take you to the ground. FMA will put you in the ground. What does that mean, right? And he's gotten flack for that. Like, well, that's not true. I think it's really about respecting life. At the end of the day, it's knowing that you have these skills to protect your loved ones, your wife, your daughter, your family. Granted, it's so cool. You can go, blah, blah, blah. I can go cut up all this stuff. That's awesome. But you can also use a flashlight. You can use an impact device, because you know how to make whatever you can grab lethal. And I think the beautiful benefit about FMA is that there's a lot of patterns that you can use. And it's that same movement that you can do with a variety of things. It doesn't just have to be a knife or a sword. I was recently training with James Keating, and he weaponized a bandana.
Oh,
Okay. And took me out with a bandana, and I was wrapped up like a spider had me wrapped up in their web. It was nuts. So I love the traditional martial arts, the Kempo, the Taekwondo. I think FMA gives you the ability to flow with that and bridge the gap between how you implement those bases. It's a very lethal system.
I think there's a great interplay between self-perfection and self-preservation in Filipino martial arts as well, because you learn a lot of great drills that teach you a lot of great attributes like distance management and speed and accuracy and all these things. And they come into play, those attributes come into play in actual self-preservation. But in the meantime, you have these drills that perfect your movement and those attributes. I think it's a nice, I'm sure most martial arts have that, but in Filipino martial arts where the stakes are so high, if you're actually using a blade, it really gets across that development of those attributes.
I think you said it extremely well, because you have a stick. We'll take a stick, for example, going 90 miles an hour coming at you from a delivery. Most punches are not going to go that fast. So
Yeah.
it will literally slow down as you're conceptualizing it. And you have that line familiarization. Datu Kelly Warden talks about that, those drills, that line familiarization. And I didn't understand it at first, and now I get it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's an angle one. Boom, outside block, break, hit. Versus you're there with your boxing, right? And it's like you're used to that same speed. That stick is moving 10 times faster, so you better get the heck out of the way. So it really enhances your capabilities for sure. Otherwise, you have a big bruise on the side of your face.
Yeah, and sometimes you hit yourself with the stick. That's happened to me so many times. Bang, hit yourself. Yeah,
Very
the whole
humbling.
world here.
Very humbling.
Yeah. So you just mentioned Master at Arms James Keating. Tell us about, tell us all about it. How did you get involved in his world?
Yeah, I mean, what a blessing. So he actually commented on one of my videos, one of my YouTube videos, and I went, I've heard this name before. My instructor, one of my instructors, Brian Everett, who got me really introduced with OGE, was like, you really got to come. He's just like masculine, 6'5" cowboy. You really got to come check him out. And I'm like, yes, sir. Like, I'll book the plane ticket. I'm on the way. So I went to one of his seminars, and I was just blown away by Master at Arms James Keating. His skill level and proficiency with movement, the only thing I can describe it is like learning sword and knife fighting is equivalent to learning music from Mozart.
Mm.
It is incredible. The way that he moves, it's like the wind. And he's like in his 70s, okay? And I wouldn't want to fight him, right? I mean, he bang, tagged me multiple times. He incorporates many different skill sets from many different arts and codifies them. And I think that's really what makes it so exceptional, is that he's not relying on just, this is the system that I know. No, he takes from everything and adapts it to you as an individual, and really just highlights your strengths and then fixes your weaknesses. And he's like, here's how we can fix that. And I'm like, thanks.
So he
Life
first
changing.
came on my radar with as a Bowie knife fighter.
Yes, sir.
I know that is just a tool and a skill set in his giant box. But tell me about his where this comes from. The study of the Bowie knife. Is it?
That Americana. There's a lot of history with the Bowie knife, and it dates back a long time, but it is truly America's blade shape. And I really can't thank him enough for the ABCs, the American blade craft system, man. He really pioneered blade fighting in like the early 90s, when no one was really talking, like 80s, 90s, writing for Tactical Knives, Knife Magazine. And I think that, like, back then, those magazines were what we do now with the
Yeah,
YouTube videos, you know?
exactly.
And he has DVDs out there, but I think he was really ahead of his time by brandishing these skill sets that no one else was really talking about. and putting together a system where people could train those back cuts, that saber fighting style in a 13-inch Bowie knife. It's exceptional.
So, okay, I mentioned back cuts a lot. I'm a Bowie knife fanatic, and I say Bowie. I'm from up north. I'm a Yank, so that's how I say it. But show us what a that's a Bobby Rains, right?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, this is a trainer that he gifted to me. So shout out Bobby Rains. I have a custom coming from him that I'm beyond excited about. So the back cut refers to, so we have the primary edge, right? It typically has some curve to it because it adapted from saber fighting, cavalry sabers. But then on the top here, we have this kind of clip point that is most often sharpened. At least in my opinion, it should be sharpened.
Yes, sir.
Not razor sharp, because you want it to really rip and tear in the most brutal and beautiful way. So the back cut is not utilizing the primary edge like a snap cut. It's inverting it here. So you have almost like a pakal shape with, like, if you think, I mean, this isn't a pakal. People go, it's not a pakal. It's a karambit. I got it. But you really have that bite. When this will slide on a cut, the tip of this will dig.
Yeah.
And it will fillet and rip open your target like nothing else. Plus, you also have the weight behind it. So that back cut is very deceptive, especially when you come into the blind spots. It is a very fast and quick tool for disabling an attacker.
So when I think of the back cut, I think of a Floretti or a Redondo. It's kind of in the same family, but maybe the opposite approach. And I know a lot of people, when they see Redondos or Florettis, they think it's just that, a flourish, but it's not. There's an actual purpose behind it. So how important is the back cut to this sort of American knife fighting?
That's beautiful that you asked that, because I'm currently working on a documentary of Master at Arms James Keating. And I asked him something very similar. And he goes, well, let's find out. And I'm like, he's very deep bravado voice. And so he goes, I'm not going to back cut the entire time I'm going to fight someone. I'm going to set it up with a feint, cut through, and it's right there when you need it. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Because if you keep throwing back cuts, well, now you're exposing yourself. You're giving flank. We don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So it's right here when you need it, and it'll set you up. I consider it like a tool in the toolbox. It's good to know. And if you can perfect it, it's going to be your best friend.
So how much of your Filipino knife fighting knowledge came into play with learning this American blade combatives?
I think it really enhanced both sides. I came in with some general understanding of lines and blade movement, because in Filipino martial arts, we have the abanico, right? Which is the fanning motion. But it's not so much a fan as it is an extension of your body. So I will say that having some Filipino martial arts background helped, but it's not necessary. I could teach anyone how to do a back cut in less than 5 minutes. And Keating talks about this. He goes, these are tribal principles that if you're going into war, we're doing bare minimum basic training so you can come back the next day and get the next lesson. And that's really what that back cut is. It's going to be an effective, dominant way to win a fight. Come back tomorrow for the next lesson. We're going to cover something else then.
So I also have a fascination with the use of the swedge as the primary edge, the primary fighting edge. I've heard it called Mountain Man. Yeah, I've heard it called the Randall fighting method. I know the Randall knives in World War II, they were kind of taught to use the swedge as the primary edge and then do the old heave ho once you have it in there. Did you get any lessons on that? Any familiarity with that?
Absolutely. So if you have your freshly sharpened edge here, you definitely don't want to be clacking that into a helmet or someone's, gauntlet if they're wearing armor, or a barrel of a rifle. However, the back edge of this blade is going to be a big, heavy, non-sharp chunk of steel, which is going to be great for parrying, except you have that top third that's sharpened. So if you have that incoming attack, you can parry it and then hit. However, if you fight with the primary edge, it still gives you that ability to do those pulling cuts, and then you can lacerate on the way out. So personally, I like the edge down method because it allows you to flip out and get out of the way of those incoming attacks
Mm,
like this. But that's not to say that maybe you pick up your weapon in the heat of the battle, or you're caught off guard and you
yeah,
do like a roof block and you don't want to chip your blade,
yeah.
then you can crash down with the back edge. So I think if you practice with it, when that moment happens, you're going to know exactly what to do. You're just going to go into a flow. It's not going to matter. Oh, wait, excuse me, sir. Can you reverse that attack? I have to actually reorient my blade. Thank you.
It's like
Right.
the old Jim Carrey bit. No, attack me like this.
Yeah. Do it this way. Okay. Thank you. Cool. Here we go. So I think it's just, again, tools in your toolbox and getting familiar with your tools, which is why I play with knives so often, because no matter how I pick it up, I'm going to be ready to go.
Yeah. So any indication from James Keating or from you yourself, from your study of Bowie knives? There are a lot of different styles of Bowie in terms of their profile. What you have there, that Bobby Rains Rainmaker or the Hell's Bells Bowie, for instance, long, slender fighting Bowies with a fully sharpened clip. That seems to be a great recipe for a knife fighting knife. But oh, look at that, two of them. Two of my favorite designs. But what about other styles of Bowie? What about something more broad? I mean, can all of these be used? In other words,
So if someone asked me, like, what's the deadliest knife you own? Without a doubt, it would be this one. And this is the Cressata from James Keating. And it is a more spear point-esque driven, designed on purpose. So that way, when you aim it at someone, it disappears. The depth perception disappears. You don't know how long
yeah,
that is. So I would say that the Bowie comes from classic chef's knives and farm working tools that adapted into a more combat driven, thicker style. But this is more of what I would consider an Arkansas toothpick style
hmm,
Bowie, a little bit more symmetrical, if you will. And then we have that deep Spanish notch here and guard with a sharpened back. So, characteristics of a Bowie, I think, yes, you can have those traditional clip points. You can have it be the spear point, Arkansas style. But realistically, there's nothing new under the sun.
yeah,
Everything has been done. You look at European swords, this could be a European mini rapier, right?
yeah.
But realistically, I think it's how you apply it. And if it wins the fight, then I'll call it whatever you want me to call it.
That okay, so this knife is gorgeous. We recently had Jeff Schaefer on the show. He makes these for Mr. Keating at the moment. Um, what? So I see the hole there, right south of the Spanish notch. That fits those other quillions,
The
right?
Quillians that I have over in my shelf there. So they tie in and they give you an extra cross, which is like similar to the Cressata. And this way, when an oncoming weapon comes in, you can really just twist it, lock it, and drive it back into the opponent. It is beautiful. It gives you much more hand protection to protect those beautiful digits that we know and love.
Oh, that thing is beautiful. Tell us about the Spanish notch.
So this Spanish notch here is designed to catch blades. So we have this guard here. So if a blade came in, you can trap with just a slight twist and
Mm,
lock the blade. Not necessarily to disarm it, although that's certainly an applicable thing, but you can also twist your blade back onto their arm, which
oh,
is pretty cool. So it can redirect that force. The Spanish notch here basically aids in that because it gives you another area for it to get caught in and twist down.
okay.
Again, this can be applied with the back cut flow, learning how to twist and manipulate the blades to catch. Is that something I'm going to go for in a fight? Not necessarily, unless the person's extremely unskilled, but it's just nice to have that extra comfort that if you get into a bind, you have additional leverage to pop their blade out and it's going to go far
Yeah.
or back into them.
So a lot of the stuff we're talking about right now would be optimized in a dueling situation.
Precisely.
Um, uh, and we looked at the Agent 007 before, so that very well might be your answer. But to the person out there who carries a knife for self-defense, does not get in duels, cannot carry a crosata, what kind of knives do you recommend? And I know that's a sticky kind of question because you're not a lawyer, and you're also not trying to tell people to carry stuff, but people carry stuff. So what do you think is the most intuitive kind of knife to carry?
So I have a theory about this. And I was talking to someone recently and they go like, "What is the best self-defense knife?" And I said, "Well, what do you do for work?" And they're like, "Well, I work behind a desk. I'm like at AAA." And I'm like, "Okay." The other guy that I was talking with, he goes like, "Well, I'm on a construction site, so I'm like hammering and pulling nails." And I'm like, "Great." So for you, that might be the Milwaukee Fastback, right? Where you pull it out, it's those replaceable blades. For the person with the desk, it might be like the CRKT CEO or something very, or an Ocaso Blades Solstice, something, right? For me, it's something that you're going to actually carry every day. Maybe it's not a giant Cressada that you're going to strap to your back and go through the urban jungle looking for a fight. For me, it's something you're going to have that repetition of pulling it out and using it every day. It might be a Benchmade, right? The bug out. For me, it's something you're going to have on you every day, that you have that muscle memory of deploying, open and close, open and close. If you can keep it sharp, that's a good thing. I love wave features. That's something I look for, which is a quick deploy feature for a pocket knife, or like the High Desert Blade Works. We have the Bramp opening. So as you go to deploy it from your pocket, it'll catch and open that for you, getting it into position. But again, if you're going to carry it every day and practice drawing it, I think that's going to be a much more effective tool than something that, well, I only carry this for self-defense.
Yeah.
I go, okay, let's do a draw test and see how fast you can get it out. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm out. You're still fumbling with it. Well, the spider code needs to get broken in. It's stiff. Like, no, dude, you've never practiced with it. You just think I'm going to keep it sharp and ready. No, if you never practice with it, it's not going to be there when you need it.
So this is a huge conundrum for me, because I have a big collection and I love to change it up on a nearly daily basis. I'll get in a rut, or the opposite of a rut. I'll get happy about a knife and carry it for a week in a row, but I'm constantly rotating. Then again, I'm constantly playing with knives, but still, so for me, that's sometimes an issue. I'm like, I'm not carrying this every day.
I set myself up with systems. So I know in my left pocket, I carry something that's going to be more utilitarian, but still functional. So today, I think, because I just got back in from the shop, it's the Yojimbo set up for lefty carry. Beautiful working blade shape that I know I'm going to be able to pop open a box with, or, carve open an apple. But I have that repetitive motion. And then on the right side, I'll carry something typically larger. And today we have the gin folding, but maybe it's an Espada or a Voyager or something. But I know generally, area restrictions not included, is going to be a larger folder that I can legally carry. And then on the front, we have a fixed blade. I love fixed blades. I think that's probably going to be your best bet if you're carrying something solely for personal protection. Again, being able to access it with both hands is going to be important. So that's why I like front, appendix, whatnot. But again, you have to use your blade. If you're unfamiliar with it and you're like fumbling around with it, it's not going to do you any good if you can't get it into the fight in the first place.
Dude, if my face is flush with jealousy, that gin did it, man. I love the gin. I love the fixed blade gin. I've never hefted one of these folders, but it's like one of the most beautiful knives out there. Let's show this off for a second.
Yeah. So after this, we'll talk and I'll send it to you so you can review it and check it out.
Thanks.
Okay. So this is from Turner CNC, and it is the gin folding knife. It has an aluminum handle. This one is topoed, but it's really a Persian style fighting blade that has an S curve, which gives you extra bite. Now, some people looking at this are going to go, okay, great. It's a swirly blade. So what? Well, I'll tell you what the so what is. Okay. It has a flat grind here, or excuse me, like a hollow grind, transitions to a flat grind. And then on the top, it has another hollow grind. So it's like triple ground that then goes back to a flat grind towards the tip. So
Sick.
it's so cool.
And it evokes the Peshkabs, it evokes the Yatagan, all those beautiful Turkish and Middle Eastern style blades. God, so I've loved the fixed blade for a long time, and then when I saw he was making a folding version of this, I was like, yes, I have all of the large cold steels. I love them so much, but I've thought so many times, why aren't other makers doing these giant knives? And maybe there's not so much of a market for them, or maybe they just are all need to like put on their big boy pants. But
I'll tell you what, Turner CNC has some cojones to pull this off.
What is that, a 5.5-inch blade or 6
It
inch?
is. It is. So I took the Espada. It might be. Oh, here, I'll grab this. The Raja, right? So that's a pretty big, nasty blade. I mean, you look at this. That's a pretty nice little comparison right there.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So you definitely have tons of reach, tons of distance, but it's deceptive how light and fast it is. Everyone that I've handed this to, they've been like, it weighs nothing. And that's the magic of it. It's fully hollowed out, super fast. You can still back cut with it because of this, even though it's unsharpened.
Yeah.
That'll even, I wouldn't want to get touched with that, but
Hell
it becomes
no.
a wand in your hand. I have not taken it out of my pocket since I've got it.
Oh my gosh. I totally, I 100% have to get one of those. It's a moral imperative.
We'll work on that. I got you.
So this begs the question, out of historical knives, what are your favorite knives in general? We talked about Bowies, we talked about Filipinos. I mean, they've got some of the most incredible blade profiles out there.
Yes.
Now we have the Jin, DJINN, like the Middle Eastern demon.
Yep.
What is your favorite style of knife throughout history?
Wow. Bomb.
Yeah, I know.
That's awesome. I love it. My favorite style, man. It recently, like if you ask me right now off the top, I have to say a Bowie knife. To me, it just you get the beauty of a saber. You get some of like the Filipino aspect of it because they had like the bolos.
Yeah.
It is just such a versatile tool. And I think that's really what it comes down to, is something that can be a tool. I love katanas, wakazashis, but am I going to go hack down a tree with that? No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to be able to like start a fire with that, trying to pull a ferro rod off of it. It's like, it's beautiful, but kind of challenging. That's just something. It's a toss up between that and a dagger.
Ooh, oh, that's one of Jen
Lint.
Jen Lint. I'm sorry, I forgot her last name all of a sudden. That is so beautiful.
So, I mean, if we're going into combat, I mean, this thing, I don't even care. It's taking out wizards, man. This.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, her work is so stunning, man. That is just beautiful.
Exceptional. So a dagger is pretty awesome. I love the mythicalness behind it too. Like typically it wasn't a wand, it was a dagger, ceremonial dagger. So I think it has a lot of cool spiritual attributes to it. But if we're going into combat, man, I'm taking a Bowie knife and a Bible. Let's go.
A Bowie knife and a Bible. Amen, man. So Second Catholic edition in my case. But you had a karambit out before.
Yeah.
And this is something I recently had Paulo Rubio on the show.
Oh yeah.
He's a great dude. And karambits came up, and there's this idea that a karambit is kind of a magical pass. You've never fought with a knife before, you've never trained with a knife, but if you have a karambit, that's like the ultimate. What are your feelings on karambits? It's a complicated issue.
I think if you can deploy your karambit and get it into the fight, it's a vicious weapon. I wouldn't want to close the distance on someone. I think it's like an actuation of your body mechanics. So if you can throw a jab, you can stab. If you can throw a hook, you can slash. Is it the most, like, am I going to hand this to someone who's untrained and say like, all right, you're on my team for the apocalypse, like, let's go? Probably not. But as a working tool, I think it's exceptional because you turn it around and you have that, that forward leading tip that has a lot of pressure to it. I think if you So here's the thing. I've trained with some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys, and I'm like, hey man, I love this chokehold. I love this triangle choke. And I've, unbeknownst to them, pulled out a karambit trainer. And I just, did one of these flail extensions and just pulled it across their back. And they're like, yo, what's that? What's that? It feels weird. What's that? And I go, you have no more back, right? You're gonna limp for the rest. And they're like, well, we're doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I said, nah, man, this is a combat art. So I got combat tools. Like, what's up? And they're like, oh man. So I think in a close quarter environment, amazing. If you have any background in boxing, it's gonna be a great, formidable tool for that. Wing Chun, especially as well, some of the trapping, exceptional. But is it the end all be all for combat tools? No, but I love them, and I think they're very versatile.
So, okay, another recent thing that has taken a similar mantle is Pakal style knives,
Yes.
which is kind of the karambit in reverse. So, and that's another thing, like a magic elixir. Oh, all you got to know is how to, back fist. So, what would you say to someone? Yes, sir. What would you say to someone who preaches that?
I would say similar to the back cut being more of an expert's move, you're having steel coming back towards your body. You have to be very comfortable with alignment and getting your body out of there. I say the same thing with a Pakal knife. You have the tip down and the edge facing the user. I think the Pakal is a versatile tool for everyday carry. A lot of people misunderstand it. I would consider this more of an expert's tool because although it uses fine gross motor skills, in the heat of the moment, you have your trapping hand out there, you go to stab and you cut back. I don't know. But, and here's the last thing. You look at this as an animalistic nature. Tigers have their claws that bring you in. They don't have them facing out to flick away, right? It's that karambit, get away, go. The expert's knife, the Pakal, come on in, baby, you're mine. So I feel that it gives you a lot of that back muscle leverage. It's a torque J cut out. It's very effective, very sinister, but that would require a little bit more training, in my opinion.
Interesting. So my thought was the reverse. My thought was that a karambit, because it does not emulate nature, because it's unlike the Pakal, which is more like a tiger's claw, as you were mentioning. Like that would take less training to just kind of pound it and pull it, pound it and pull it. But I don't know. I haven't, thank the Lord, I haven't been in that situation, but that and then the third, in if we're going to be ranking these, is that sort of S-curved Black Talon 2 or Civilian from Spyderco, that sort of model where you can't fail,
Right. Yes. So I think this is actually like one of those tools that I would hand to just about anyone for ripping and slashing. Like, hold one to your chest and go crazy because it's going to be effective, right? I mean, this knife respectfully scares the crap out of me. And I've got to test it on ballistic dummies before. Nasty. This will destroy just about anything. But I love it as a tool for cutting ropes, for opening things. Oh my gosh. This is such a great tool. But it scares the crap out of me, Bob.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, no, that is a terrifying knife right there. The Black Talon.
Again, I think it really comes down to what can you get out in time, because it's kind of tricky to deploy a Pakal knife unless you're doing like the classic Emerson opening where it comes out, but then is it in the Pakal position?
Right.
No, it's more of like a forward grip. So you have to really train deploying it and then rolling it into your hand in order to accentuate and bring out what it's best known for. The karambit, again, you also have to practice deploying it. Maybe it's a two-hand, maybe it's the bramp, and now you're ready to go.
Yeah.
The Black Talon, I don't know, man. It's just there.
I'm oftentimes when I'm pressure testing myself against the Bob dummy, folders, like, and I've been drawing folders for a long time, even waveable folders. There's still a moment where you have to reposition your hand and to get it just right. And That's why I keep coming back to fixed blades.
Yes.
Fixed blades, if you really want to draw something that you're going to defend yourself with.
I gotta shout out Auxiliary Manufacturing here,
Oh,
because
yeah.
he just did the Carl Jr. And this has been a steady part of my everyday carry. When it's not an agent line, it's this one. It's so small, very concealable, great, chimping up towards the top.
Beautiful blade, too.
$99. So
Mm.
I'm like,
It's made by Miguron, too. They did a beautiful job on the pocket Bowie. I keep that on my backpack like a big old nerd, but yeah.
I agree. Fixed blades are where it's at, man. Once you get over that hurdle of like, how am I going to carry this?
Yeah.
And you get comfortable and you have that position to get it out either hand, it's fast.
So you told us that you're coming out with you're working on a James Keating documentary. Tell us a little bit about the Tactical Tavern in general and what your plans are for the future.
Yes. So recently I've had some incredible opportunities to go and train with Kelly Warden, Datu Kelly Warden as well, who trained and is good friends with James Keating. So
Yep.
we have 2 that are in the works. I know it's taking some time, but trust me, it's going to be so worth it. The hardest part about it is that everything he says is like gold. Like you want to keep it in, and it's hard to like cut out stuff. You're like, no, this story is so good. So we have a James Keating documentary that is going to be coming out very soon. We have a Datu Kelly Warden documentary that's also in the works, because we got to spend a week training with him. And I think right now I'm really blessed with that ability to be able to travel and train, and really accentuate these skills that I've been learning. Something I also have to show here is the Galaxy Princess Legacy knife from Kelly Warden. Look at this.
So that's Remy Presas. Is that what?
Yes. So yes. And so this is designed. It was first made for Remy Princess. And then he was like, well, this was a really cool design. And so Kelly Warden took it and goes, you know what? I'm going to make this into something really special. And holy smokes. Look at the blade finish.
Wow.
Whoa. So
Wait. Before you resheathe that, that's a pretty unique design on the spine. Is that for trapping those 2 peaks there?
Yeah. So it almost to me kind of looks like a face that we were talking about, how it almost looks like a head or a face, but it realistically, you have pressure here, you have different abilities to hook, trap. I'm still exploring. I don't know. I mean, it's gorgeous, but yes, I imagine there are very sinister capabilities to that as well. So
Yeah, it seems like something you could on a half beat retain a wrist with or something. Yes, exactly.
Oh yeah.
So Kelly Warden, the name is familiar to me, but honestly, I don't remember who he is. Who is he again?
Datu Kelly Warden is a master of masters. He really broke out of, instead of just doing, I'm going to do karate, which back in the 80s was very taboo to like explore other dojos and cross train. He did that. He was like, no, okay, that's great. I'm going to go train over here and study Filipino martial arts. Well, okay, that's great. I'm going to go study Wing Chun over here. And I would consider him a master of movement. He can teach you how to do an art just because of that line familiarization of like, okay, is this an outward block? Is this a karambit slash? Is it a pakal stab? It's movement. No one owns movement. And he has just this innate way of just bringing it all together. And he designed like the defense wrench, the safety wrench.
That's cool.
TSA approved, by the way. So that's cool.
Excellent.
And it's really great for measuring your nuts and bolts and keeping people in check. It's an attitude adjustment. So he's incredible, and being able to train with him too, and understand like the staff. We studied the staff quite extensively because it unlocks motion. You do an inward block, right? Check, block. Well, what's the difference with doing that with the staff? It's just teaching you how to use your hips, your body, your torque. We got some really good stuff coming out on the Tactical Tavern, man. Stay tuned. I'm excited to share it.
Man, I'm excited to hear that. To watch those, especially, I got to say, James Keating. I've known about him for a long time, seen some of his videos. I used to think like, look at this guy. He's built like me. He's like tall and thin, but he's a badass. Maybe I could someday. He's one of those kind of aspirational guys. I look forward to checking that out. We only have a few minutes here left, but let me ask you, just in terms of like the more pedestrian knife scene, what are some of the knives that are out? You just mentioned the auxiliary manufacturing Carl Jr. Made by Miguron. That's awesome. But what are some of the other knives that are out and about or coming out that you're excited about?
Something I'm really excited about is coming from Tenable. They're working with Dirk Pinkerton, and they're coming out with a really budget-friendly line of Pakal knives. If they're not out already, I think they're going to be out very soon. Super stoked for that. There's also a couple of Bastinellis that I got to see that are just so gorgeous. The lines that he does, exceptional. And CJRB, we have something in the works as well. So I'm
really? Can you spill as much as you can spill?
It's going to be sharp.
Damn. All right. Does it fold or is it fixed?
It's going to fold. It's going to be a budget folder that's good for personal protection.
How cool. CJRB. I love them.
CJRB. Yes,
can I ask you lock type? Because, and I'll say why. I think they do one of the best button locks that I've experienced. I like the way they pocket the plunge lock.
I do too. I feel much more secure with that than compared to most other companies, but this is not a button lock.
All right. Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
I cannot wait. So you held up a Bastinelli a few moments ago. Can you just show that off and tell us what
this is the Mood.
The Mood, that is beautiful.
It is gorgeous. It's a Spanish Navaja inspired, so it's like similar to the Espada with that upswept Spanish buoy. Perfectly placed jimping as well. Again, as a tool for everyday carry. But then we have that really beautiful extraction point. That's pretty sexy blade.
God, I need more Bastinelli knives in my life, and that might just be the next one. That is just beautiful.
That trip that I went on for a week trading in Washington. This was one of the blades that I brought. The only fixed blade I brought was this one to carry and test, and I trusted it. I trusted it with my life. So there it is.
Well, right on. Okay, last question here. Tell us who you're watching on YouTube right now. And I'm asking you this because I've fallen off a little bit. I mean, I've got you and Rolando and a few others I always tune into.
Yes.
But, time is limited. Who are some of the knife tubers you're into these days?
So there's this guy named Alex. I think it starts with a G. I could be wrong. I think it's Outdoor 55. He does an incredible job at testing some knives. Amazing. Of course, there's what's that guy's name? Metal Complex is always doing stuff. I'll check out him when I can. But I also try not to get trapped into doing what everyone else is doing. So usually when I'm on YouTube, I'm watching, other things, stand-up comedy, stuff to take my mind off of all the, all right. But yeah, I would definitely say check out Outdoor. I know Jason Fleming, Straight Edge Knives is
he's awesome. I like that
a lot. And of course, when I can, it's Choir Boy Cutlery.
Oh yeah, he's got a big place in my heart. I love that guy.
Oh, he's awesome. He's
gonna be on here next week, actually.
Is it Scab? Oh, let's go. Yeah. I'm Scab. You're not. That's all. Yeah, I love it.
He and I were born in the same year, and I feel like we have some of the same. We share some of the same cultural bookmarks, and I love that dude.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's a real one.
All right, so tell everyone how they can catch up with you and when and where they can check out the James Keating, the Kelly Warden documentaries that are coming out, which I can't wait for, because you know what you're doing too. It's not like you're a total noob walking in and saying, show me how to, you're starting from a very accelerated position.
I appreciate you saying that, but on camera, I look like a total noob when I'm working with him. Okay. And I am okay with that because I'm learning.
Yeah.
But I was humbled, by their skills, both of them. Keating, especially with the backup flows, the tagging. And I'm like, okay, time out. How'd you do that? He goes, well, what did I do? Let's reverse it. Boom, boom. And I'm like, wow. It's fast. I have segments coming out on the Tactical Tavern YouTube channel. Some clips before the main one comes out. We're trying to coordinate something special with a certain deadline. So we'll see when we can get that to happen. And then the Kelly Warden one will be after that. But again, we got to experiment with his Silent Fighter, which is like one of the best training dummies. Like imagine the Bob, but on steroids with arms.
Oh, okay.
It's awesome. And he's still making them by hand, just like the knives that he's doing. He's making them in his shop by hand. I'll just say this. The best thing about this documentary, or about these documentaries, is that I sat down and I interviewed the students. And to hear their stories and the emotion that they bring to them, it goes beyond martial arts. It's just a true way of living. And it's just so much respect and love and admiration for these individuals that are historic legends, living legends in the martial arts. So Tactical Tavern, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, MySpace. I'm just kidding. I'm not on MySpace.
He just quit today.
Yeah, that's it.
Tomas, thank you so much, man. It was so much fun talking to you always. Great always bumping into you at Blade Show and such. But man, I'm so glad that you are out there capturing this kind of stuff, especially with these living legends who are, later in their years, and we need to preserve their knowledge. I know they've done great to do that too, but I'm so glad you're out there taking care of it. So
thank you.
I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you. And I love watching your videos too, Bob DeMarco. My family, when we can, we'll get together, we'll watch, we'll put it on the big screen at Thursday Night Knives. Let's go.
Right on, man. All right. Well, you take care, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir.
Adventure Delivered. Your monthly subscription for hand-picked outdoor, survival, EDC, and other cool gear from our expert team of outdoor professionals. TheKnifeJunkie.com/BattleBox.
There he goes, ladies and gentlemen. Tomas Alas of the Tactical Tavern. I mean, he said it all. He is the man, and I love his work. I love the videos he puts out. And also, you are going to love his Agent 007. So be sure to check that out when it drops on the 21st of November, 2025. There will be more runs down the road. Don't worry. But for now, check that out. And by the way, Bastinelli Rap, you better get on that one fast. All right, for Jim working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying until next time, don't take dull for an answer.
Thanks for listening to the Knife Junkie podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review at reviewthepodcast.com. For show notes for today's episode, additional resources, and to listen to past episodes, visit our website, TheKnifeJunkie.com. You can also watch our latest videos on YouTube at TheKnifeJunkie.com/YouTube.